My China trip is winding down. I leave tomorrow. So it's like 6 weeks I've spent here. I didn't really know what to expect. I live in a small city and I live in an even smaller suburb. So the idea of coming to China with a population of 1.4 billion seemed not overwhelming as such, but I just wondered how it would go. And I have quite an aversion to big crowds as well. So I know, like, I don't know, I could see why perhaps it doesn't sound like a smart idea. If I'm not big with crowds, big populations, why would I come? But I just felt very cool to come to China at this time in my life. So what I'm really keen about when I travel to places is to see how the people are doing. I want to know, are they okay? I want to know how much time they spend working and how much time they get to spend in their personal life, or what I like to call their actual lives. I look around, I walk along the streets and I look at the people, and largely they don't even see me looking. So very focused on looking, well, they're not focused, that's the wrong word, they're not focused at all. They look very tired. A lot of people here look very tired. They look very heavy, and primarily they just don't look excited to be alive. They don't know today's their birthday. They can't see how amazing life is. I see them trapped in their own heads and their eyes aren't even open. I'd like to say this is specific to China only, but I saw the same thing in Hong Kong, in Tibet, in France, in Germany, in the Netherlands. I've seen it in every country that I've been to. The people are not excited with life. They don't seem to get that they are life itself. What I want to do is take each and every one of them and just sort of bring them into my heart. I want to give them all of my love, and I want to remind them of the love that they are. This human journey is ours for the creating, but people don't seem to be creating it with much awareness. And it's not people's fault. When it comes down to what we've been taught to expect from life, and I think for so many of us, the bar is incredibly low as to what we expect. I consider in my life, I spent a large portion of it living from my base sort of spiritual line as living from the fear consciousness. And then in the last couple of years, my baseline has been the love consciousness. So what I expected in that fear consciousness in terms of how far my happiness could reach and how much bliss I could feel. Wow, there was no bliss really. But happiness and joy and excitement, it was limited at this, it stopped here. But then once I shifted to the baseline of the love consciousness, I then saw that this happiness has no bounds. It's endless. There's so much of it, but I couldn't see it before. I'd never experienced life like that for the first 30 whatever years of my life. I hadn't known that it could be that great, and I think so many of the people that I see, they've never lived with their base spiritual line being the love consciousness, so they don't know how good it can be. I see them living in scarcity and in competition and in separation. I see them living from their limited egos. This can be changed. They can change what their baseline is. We create this. It doesn't happen to us. We're the ones that are doing it. And so we have to consciously choose what we're letting in, what we're releasing, what we're working through and letting go of. Because people aren't very good at letting go. But I also understand, this is complicated. because people devote so much time to making money, and then they're so tired from being stressed from their jobs and having to give so much of that time away that they're not focusing on it. I'd encourage them to change their priorities. If they could manipulate their energetic levels. Like, manipulate's not a bad word. Manipulate is just, consciously create, consciously change. If they could focus on creating their energy in a different way, then their external world would follow with the changes. But if they don't start paying attention to what it is that they're living in, nothing outside is going to change either. Everywhere I go, I see people in deep suffering, and it breaks my heart. These people haven't been taught to empty out the noise of their inner being, and they certainly don't know how good life can be if they were to empty out that noise, if they were to do the work, because that working through their old stuff that they're holding on to can then cause their hearts to open. They can then return to the heart. They can return to the source, that God self within. It's available to them. I don't think they know it. Like, there's so much information available, but it's the time, isn't it? It's the time. But we choose what we do with our time. No one can make us dedicate our time any way other than what we choose. It is our lives, and we must consciously create them. One last point I'd like to make is that when I look around, when I'm on the buses and the trains and the sidewalks, and I see the eyes of the people and the faces of the people, what I notice is that they don't seem to see each other. And I just think perhaps if we made more of an effort to look around and to see each other, we would feel less alone, because we would see our mirrors, and we could see that, oh, are you not okay as well? Maybe I can help you, brother. Maybe I can help you, sister. Like, yeah, these human journeys of ours are solo rides, but we're in it together. But it seems to me that no one seems to be getting that. We are in this together. I really like the spiritual teacher Ram Dass. He was American and passed away a couple of years ago. And one of my favourite quotes from him is, "Your suffering is my suffering." And I understand that because we're all affected by each other. Your suffering is my suffering. I feel it from you. I see it in you. And so how can I help you? Because it's mine too. So the physical landscape in China has been really cool, and I'm really glad I came. But the spiritual landscape is much like every other country I've been to. We can change these landscapes, but to do it, it's going to take all of us, and it's going to take everything we've got. We need to wake up and do our part for ourselves and for each other. If we want to bring the peace and the love back into this world, we need to be it.